Hello everyone and welcome to the Modern Day Gamer. I'm Eric, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about some heroes that actually need some buffs in the game. So they're recently buffing Hanzo with his scatter arrow. I would call it a buff as he's getting a new ability, and his increase to his fire rate and all that kind of stuff just really make him a very good a very good hero now, as he is getting an increase to his arrows in terms of speed from 85 to 100, I think it was, and his scatter arrows being removed, which would be a nerf until you think about the fact that he's getting his new storm arrows, which I've seen some gameplay from some really big Overwatch YouTube channels, and it looks insane. It looks terribly insane. Like, I don't know how anyone could describe like how terrible this ability is going to be. Hanzo is going to become really very hard to play against. Um, but there are some heroes that actually need some buffs that have never ever been buffed, that have never even been looked at to be buffed. Obviously, we're going to start today with the obvious one, which is Symmetra. Symmetra, even after her rework, is not in a good spot. They didn't do a ton to her. She's still short range. Her secondary fire is crap. Um, her gun, while super strong, she has way low health. Um, and her turrets, I mean, they can be destroyed fairly easily. Someone gets a Winston, it's over. She doesn't work on a ton of maps because she has to be so close, and that goes for a lot of closer ranged heroes. Um, as heroes go, Symmetra needs the most work done, in my opinion. Some other heroes that really need uh, kind of a rework would be, in my opinion, I think Orisa needs a little bit of help. I think Reinhardt needs a little bit of help. And I think McCree. And I'm going to hit on all of those. I'm going to start off with Orisa. I know a lot of people are not going to agree with me here, but Orisa is one of those heroes, one of those characters that is pretty strong in the right situations. Again, kind of like Symmetra, except if she gets any dive comp or anything like that, she's so slow, so immobile. Her shield has, I think her shield has great amount of health for what she is, and the cooldowns and everything really works. Um, uh, Unfortunately, though, her kit only works in certain situations. And she's not really a hero that is in the spot where you could pick her up and play her as your main tank all the time. Whereas Winston is kind of in that, and they're trying to fix it with some heroes. But I think they're doing the right thing with some nerfs and some buffs to those heroes. But I think there are other heroes they also need to look at. Um, I think they need to do something with Zarya as well. You can see I'm playing her here in this gameplay, and I'm having a good time. I just picked Zarya up, and I enjoy playing her. And I'm not the best Zarya, but with Orisa, going back to Orisa, she's a projectile hero. She has no way to deal with a Pharah, um, especially a good Pharah. She can deal with a bad one, but she's not great at dealing with these Pharahs that are not, that are super good. Um, she can shoot long range, but she's a little bit inconsistent because of her projectiles. She has really good uh, point presence. I think they need to look something to do with her health. I think she needs more health, or more armor, one of the two. And I think she needs a little bit of a movement ability buff, whatever you call it. Um, she definitely needs that. Also, moving on from Orisa, another hero that I talked about that needed a buff was Reinhardt. Right now, we have 3 main tanks in the game, which is not enough. at all. But those three main tanks are Orisa, Reinhardt, and Winston. Two of the three need a buff. Reinhardt is good in terms of what he does in the playstyle he can play around, but is super easily countered, especially with Tracer and all that kind of stuff going against him. And it's like he needs some help um, overall as just a Rhine player. He needs some help as I mained Rhine in season 5 and thought that Reinhardt was very good back in season 5, which was kind of right before the start of his fall off. Reinhardt needs something with his mobility, with his shield, something along those lines where he's a little bit more survivable and he's able to be that way in general. Reinhardt is such a good hero when he's played well, and he plays very aggressively. But the play style most people want to play is a slow crawl, which they can't do that. They pick Bastion, they're screwed. And if you pick, Reaper or May, he just can't deal with that. So I think he needs kind of an ability kind of akin to how Zarya can bubble herself and get out of those, how like a self protection ability that he can pop, um, which would be nice. Moving on to the next hero that I talked about, McCree. McCree, man, McCree has been needing a buff for a long, long time. McCree is one of those heroes that works well in tandem with other heroes that need a buff. Um, Obviously, Dive is super strong, and even after the Brigitte comes in and all this kind of stuff, Reinhardt's not going to be able to deal with Brigitte, which I think is dumb. I think that he should be able to pin her. I don't think she should be able to stun him since she's knocked back by Doomfist, and Doomfist hits Reinhardt, and they both get stunned. By that logic, Reinhardt should also be able to not pin Brigitte because Brigitte gets knocked back. So, that would make some sense unless she's hitting him in the side. I think that overall, McCree works, and so I went back to Reinhardt there, but back to McCree. McCree works really well with Reinhardt, Zarya, Orisa. He works well with Soldier, who's kind of in a weird spot because Soldier is good at lower tiers, whereas higher tiers, he's substituted for Tracer. He's just one of those heroes that it makes a difference when you play him at different tiers. He can hit headshots. He can hit. I think he needs a movement ability. A lot of these heroes need movement abilities that I'm talking about, or more survivability. I think that if they should give him the ability to maybe double roll. They need to get rid of his ultimate and make it into kind of like Mercy, like a lesser ability where he hits it and maybe he can lock on and for sure hit two headshots on one person to get one kill, or two headshots on two people to get them down or to finish them off or whatever. So it'd be kind of like, oh, let me pop it and then pull the trigger. And if I'm looking at one person, or if I, look at two people or whatever, then, or just aim, if you just aim at someone, it's pretty much an auto kill. Um, but it could be on a longer cooldown, or maybe you can only pull the trigger once, and it's a guaranteed headshot, something along those lines where it's going to kill you. It takes some time to load up, all that kind of stuff, but it's not super OP. And then another thing that they need to do is they need to um, make his ultimate something better. Like, he's a duelist. Maybe when he pops his ult, he's hitting this ability to kind of move into a different direction. Maybe he moves faster. Maybe he pops his ultimate and it's like now he has unlimited ammo and his ammo does increase damage, but he still has to aim. Maybe it's something where he hops on a horse and, you know, whatever. I don't know. Maybe he calls in some some support from the Deadlock gang. So, you know, he pops his ult and other Deadlock members drop down and fire at the enemy team or whatever. Maybe he gets like a instead of a revolver, like a lever action gun that does max damage at any range for him, and he's just able to pop headshots just at any range, whatever they want to do with his ult, that needs to be changed. And then the last person I talked about was Zarya. I think she just needs a little bit more survivability and a little bit more bubble. I think her bubbles should not go down as fast, especially after they nerfed her bubbles. I think she should stay charged longer because of the nerf. But that's going to be all for today's video. These are heroes that I think actually do need to be reworked and need to be relooked at for every kind of person out there thinking about different heroes. This is my kind of list. So thank you guys for watching. If you're new, go ahead and subscribe. If you like the video, go ahead and leave it a like. Peace, guys, and I'll see you later.